When you get set back so many times where you're on the floor, you can't move, you can't walk, you can't take care of your family, you can barely even get yourself to the bathroom, rest, ice wasn't enough. My chiropractic wasn't enough. Why we come to Whealth is because we know surgery, shots, pain meds, it's not working. I was moving in such compensated ways that I didn't even recognize it. I am sick and tired of being here, of the flare-ups, of not being able to move. I can't depend on my body, on my strength anymore. My family's counting on me. I want to work. So I had to let go of what I thought I knew and really step into that space of like being a student again. My first thing that was super encouraging was I began deadlifting with a barbell. I have never been able to consistently deadlift without back issues, ever. So in 20 years. I feel like I've been able to truly build strength for the last several years that I've really never been able to build before. I'm definitely stronger now in my 40s than I was in college as an athlete, for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. Sarah, welcome to the Whealth Podcast. One of my first thoughts I had, it was incredible to hear that you said that you struggled with back pain for 20 years prior to Whealth. Is that really true?
Yeah, it was just on and off. You know, I swam in college, but also rode the first year and kind of just started it all, I think. I don't think it was necessarily rowing, but it was something, you know, that I was doing chronically wrong. And so it was just on and off. And then I had kids. I had 2 cesareans, which now I know 20 years later or 18 years later that can actually be a root of a lot of back issues because of the fascia and the scars and all that kind of stuff and the adhesions. So I don't know, but it all kind of came to a halt, you know, until I started doing your program. Yeah.
So I was looking at the order of history. You started the Limitless and Strength and Conditioning program. So you started really the Limitless program, I believe, on March 22nd of 2022. Do you remember that?
Yes. And I do it all the time now. Like there isn't really a day I go, even before my workouts, that I don't do some kind of movement and exercise from the program.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And even if there are workouts that I do and I'm short on time and I decide not to do the warm up, I'm always like, oh, am I going to regret this? Am I going to pay for it? Because there was a point in my recovery that my workout would be just taking 45 minutes to warm up and do extensive work through your exercises, and then I go home and that's it. So
take me through, I know 20 years, that's a long time to be struggling with pain on and off, but yes. I recall you said that you had one really severe flare up, and was that what pushed you over the edge to jump in our program?
Yes. You know, like when you get set back so many times where you're on the floor, at least in my case, you're on the floor, you can't move, you can't walk, you can't take care of your family, you can't cook, you can barely even get yourself to the bathroom. Something has had to be different, right? Like rest, ice wasn't enough. My chiropractic wasn't enough. And it was just clockwork. Like maybe it would be a couple months, maybe it would be 4 to 6 months, but it's like, you get kind of tired of it, and then you get older, and then you realize like I'm not actually gaining strength. I'm just barely maintaining where I'm at before I get injured again. And it's so humbling, right? I mean, it just reminded me of how fragile we actually are. And I don't know, being at the time, my mom who was struggling walking, having to come get me because I couldn't drive or walk to take me to the emergency, just, drop-in clinic just to get some Toradol and painkillers and muscle relaxers because it was that bad. Like I couldn't even function, and I don't know, pain is loud and you just, you don't want to be there anymore. So.
Right. And one thing too that I remember you said was that you felt like a failure in a sense with the back pain that you were struggling with. Was that kind of related to your career? You were a strength coach or have been for 20 plus years as well?
Absolutely. And so as my job is to coach and train clients, athletes to be their best, to reach their potential. And here they have a coach who can't even seemingly take care of themselves, or I show up and it depends on what group I'm training, but obviously if it's a big group of athletes, they do all the heavy lifting. But smaller groups or with one-on-ones, I tend to pick the weights up or move things or get equipment ready. And I'm like, hey, you need to pick that up because I can't, or you need to do this, or I'm gingerly walking around. It's like, okay, they're here to trust me with their workouts, and I can't even take care of my own body. Yet I thought I was doing everything right, and I didn't know either, like what the heck was going on. So yeah, it was very frustrating. And then aside from the career, I'm a mom, right? I'm a doer. I get things done. I'm efficient. And when laundry became near impossible, I couldn't even pick up a basket. I can't pick up, a Dutch oven or cast iron from the bottom shelf. Like, it really starts to get in the way of just basic daily living things.
Yeah. Was that strenuous on your relationship and family stuff?
Yes. Couple things on that note. So especially since, well, at the time, like my kids were young, so they couldn't drive. Two, my kids would make fun of both my spouse and I. Like, they'd do something and then they would grab their back and be like, oh, my back hurts. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is not funny, actually. This is horrible that they think that,
Oh
or they
my
knew
God.
what to do at the chiropractic office because they were there so much. And then my husband actually has had 2 back surgeries. Now he's in his 40s because of his own issues, being a football player in college and all this other stuff. So if it wasn't me, it was him. And it was like, this is not great. We're trying to teach our kids to be healthy and to take care of your bodies. And here we are. We're trying, but we're just like seemingly falling apart. So,
Wow. I did not realize that your husband had 2 back surgeries,
yeah.
because I know that you really did not want to do back surgery. So I
No.
was just making some assumptions. Was that a big reason why?
Yes. So, I mean, we can't go back and do anything different. We can't on ourselves, as a mentor once told me. Should have done this, should have done that. But we know that the integrity of the discs is gone, right? And so knowing the people we do know that have had fusions and regret it, I just knew, like, okay, I don't want to do that. And then seeing all the reviews and even the personal stories from Whealth and the severe herniated discs that were present that have been healed, it's like, okay, like, I don't think surgery is the option. And I know if I go to the doctor, that's what they're going to offer because that's all they can offer, right? And so that's usually last resort. I do believe the body can heal itself. I really do. But I know it's not a quick fix, and it does take a lot of work, and it's usually inconvenient, if I'm honest, right? Like, doing the boring, mobility work and core work and that kind of stuff. It's not fun. It's not shiny and exciting, but laying on the ground and being unable to move is also miserable, and I don't want that. So, yeah.
Right. So this is just another side tangent, but how are we in this mess in which doctors are so unable, for the vast part, to help with back pain? Because I was chatting with this lady who started our program 4 days ago, maybe. She's 25 and she's like, I've gotten multiple MRIs. All the doctors tell me is strengthen your core. And she's like, my core is strong. Like, I don't know what else to do. And then they're like, well, we can give you injections and then surgery. I'm like, how are some people going into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, or they're becoming this really prestigious field, but then we're going to see them and that is the help that we get? Like, where is that mismatch going on? It is bewildering.
It is bewildering. And honestly, Cam, like, I remember being in college and trying to decide on my major. I switched it, I think, like 5 times. I started with biology and was like, okay, way too much math for me. So switched over to kinesiology pre-PT. And I remember thinking, wait a second, all the pre-med are in biology. And I'm over here in kinesiology dealing with the physiology of the body and nutrition and the whole body. And yet there's like this massive disconnect. This doesn't make any sense. Like, it is like these 2 fields are so separate. They're taught I don't even know what they're all taught. I know it's an extensive, educational program, but it's becomes a business, right? You have to do all these surgeries and procedures to make any money, like suggesting they strengthen their core or eat correctly or let's look at your gut. That's not going to make them any money, unfortunately. I don't know.
Right.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad because I think there is, for both good and bad reason, there's so much power associated with that channel, right? It's like the
Yes.
doctor said, right?
Yes.
And there are so many cases in which what the doctor says is highly advisable.
Yes.
And then what we're seeing at Wealth too, when we're talking about joint pain, disc herniations, disc bulges, hypermobility, there are a lot of cases in which advice from doctors is either flat out wrong or super misguided or potentially 1% right. But there's like a big
Right.
lifestyle component that we could be, addressing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's frustrating, but it's really cool. I mean, that's why I love doing the podcast. Like one more
Yes.
story, one more person who shows I was told all these things. This was the medical path I was going down, and I intervened for myself.
Yep. When I think we like those like me who have signed up for Wealth, like we finally step back and we ask why, which maybe that's where the medical field it stops their educational process, right? Is they stop asking why. So they stop digging. They stop learning and understanding like, okay, well, there's got to be a root issue. It just doesn't just bulge. Like there's something not working that's causing it, right? And that's where I think this other side of the health and wealth and everything and why we come to Wealth is because we know, okay, surgery, shots, pain meds, it's not working. So what is actually causing this? And that was what your program provided for me is I was doing all the things. I was lifting, strengthening my core, but I was not aware of how poorly I was breathing, how like I was moving in such compensated ways that I didn't even recognize it. And that's a lot of it is from moving equipment, right? Constantly lifting heavy, moving equipment, probably being in more vulnerable positions, not really realizing how deactivated my glutes were, right? Until I had to do these slow, painful exercises with Wealth to go, oh, okay, like the body, it all works together. And when something doesn't work or stops working correctly, then something else is going to take over. But, we make an appointment with a doctor with a white coat on, and he or she they're not going to bring that up.
Right. So for, 2 decades, you were going to doctors, chiros, taking painkillers, anti-inflammatories. Is that correct?
Yes. Constant anti-inflammatories, right? Ibuprofen, for sure.
Okay. Did you ever get a diagnosis for your back pain?
No. I think I might have had an MRI in my early 30s, maybe. I feel like it shows what most MRIs show. And there wasn't like a massive herniation or anything, but
Sure.
you have the narrowing, you have this, you have that. It's like, okay, you have degeneration. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Narrowing of the spinal canal, sometimes stenosis or spondy or disc degeneration or
yeah, the degeneration, I think, doesn't everybody at this point? I don't know. Like it wasn't I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to live in this pain anymore. So
it's not a fun picture too from the recipient side. Like I'm sure yourself, me too, when I got diagnosed with the disc herniation at 21. Unfortunately, when you're so unaware of what the terms mean, when you see that MRI, you were like, I am broken. This is the worst thing. These discs, these little things in the side of me or inside of me that are attached to my spinal column or whatever, like my spine's messed up. Wow, I must be so different than everyone else. Like all of these fancy terms. And people are getting MRIs read to them, and it's like, you have a 2 millimeter here and this and this and this. And it's like, you're trying to analyze this thing as if it should be perfect when a lot of times it's normal. So that can be really, really scary. And then I think there is a problem too with getting MRIs a lot of the time, because what do you do after that? And that's why I think you do a great job. But I understand where people want to get MRIs for, back pain or whatever,
Sure.
because you feel like, hey, if I know what's wrong, I can solve it. Okay, let's test that
Totally.
theory.
Yes.
Does that help people who get MRIs and x-rays? Do most of them actually get helped from the people who are giving them?
Right. I mean, as we say, if you go looking for something, you're going to find something. Like, but it's more mindset, right? Like, what are we going to do with that then? Do we shift to the victim mentality? Like, oh, I'm broken, like you said, like this is the rest of my life. Here I go. Maybe, but it's not going to help you get better. And there has to be a point, right, where we almost get to the bottom, whatever that is, whether it's at 21 or almost 45, where we say, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. What do I need to do? And then we're finally willing to go, okay, it's not going to be some surgery. We want a quick fix, but it most likely didn't happen quick. It was something I was doing or the way I was moving for so many years that got me to this place. So,
Do you feel like there was a moment of reconciliation where it clicked to you, like, this makes sense, I need to address my lifestyle? Do you remember, was there a specific time, or did you always kind of inherently understand that, but you just couldn't find the right approach for you?
yeah, I still remember doing, um, I mean, pain is loud, right? Like you get desperate when you're in pain and you can still adhere to for I can speak for myself. I could still adhere to, but I know what I need to do, but it's obviously not working. So you kind of, I know what I need to do, but I'm still in this position. And I think I had like an onboarding call or one of the group live calls with Wealth. And I might have been you. I can't remember. That was like, no, just focus on the breathing. And I'm like, oh. It was just like a kid, just like, whatever, like the breathing. And I remember laying, because I couldn't get on the ground. So I was laying on this, super old massage table. And I did the breathing exercises. And I literally remember thinking, this is the first day. I was like, I actually feel better. Like the pain was reduced. I was like, gosh, dang it. And so then the mindset having to let go of everything that I knew and be open-minded to like, okay, I'm going to step into this journey because I am sick and tired of of being here, of the flare-ups, of not being able to move, of not being able to be dependent, or I can't depend on my body, on my strength anymore. My family's counting on me. I want to work. Like something has to be different. So I had to let go of what I thought I knew and really step into that space of like being a student again, right? And like, okay, we're going to start with breathing. I couldn't believe the relief that just the breathing exercises brought. And I think sometimes maybe there were 10 reps, maybe 20. And even part of me was like, 20 reps? Like, this is taking forever. Like, I was annoyed by that because I think inherently I knew it takes work, but I still want the quick fix. But then the relief, even like, I don't know if it was 20 or 30% reduced pain, and I was blown away. And it was almost like all I needed to go, okay, I'm all in. I'm going to let go of trying to lift any weights for a year. If it takes a year, okay. But I think it was about 6 months that I finally was very, very, very slowly starting to learn how to lift again properly. Um, does that answer your question? I kind of went on a
Yeah,
tangent a
no,
little bit.
absolutely. That's so cool. And I think a lot of members have that light bulb moment in different ways. Sometimes it really is the breathing mechanics that you didn't know that you didn't know you needed, or you just never were working on. I mean, it's funny when we deal with athletes, or athletes, non-athletes, like myself. When I first started Andrew's first program,
Hmm.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, I'm strong, I'm young, I'm tough. But clearly at the time too, I was hobbling around. I couldn't get out of bed. So
Yes.
I was fighting that narrative in my mind, like, you kind of probably need these things. But there were so many skills that I learned directly through Andrew that I don't even know if I would have ever learned that anywhere else. So it was like very refreshing. But everyone kind of has those different light bulb moments at some times. For you, I think it's cool. It's fortunate that it was almost on one of the very first skills, because the other side of
Yes.
the token is there are a lot of Wealth members who don't feel that light bulb moment for 14 days or
Yeah.
21 days.
Yeah.
So for those people who have committed to getting better, but they're not feeling that like all in moment where you were like, okay, cool,
Yes.
I understand. How do you push through that? Or how would you recommend pushing through that?
I let's see. What I have told people is because I have just constantly tried to push people your way. Um, and it always comes down to impatience, I think, right? Is I don't really want to take the time. I really want to keep doing what I'm doing over here. You just have to do it. Just do it. And like stop trying to do everything else. Just do it and do it the way it's prescribed, meaning it's boring. It's boring AF, as I tell my kids. Do it slow, feel the body. It's not what we would want to do with our time, but you're going to reap the benefits long term. And if you don't feel the benefit, like the improvements right away, I would say mentally, just tell yourself 6 months. Just be religious about it. Day in and day out. Once a week isn't going to cut it. Twice a week is not going to cut it. You have to do it every single day for 6 months. Maybe one day a week you're not. I know for myself, even today, if I spend an entire day laying around and vegging out, I get stiff, my back gets tight, and it's like I need to get on the ground and just do some of the mobility of the hip switches and the rock backs and the breathing, right, to keep my body happy. But it's 14 days is so short. Nothing. I mean,
Yeah, for
we
sure.
it didn't take 14 days to get there, right? It took years. So it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. I don't know. Yes, I felt improvement in a day from one session of breathing. It wasn't all gone though. It's not like
No.
I was jumping up after that. No, 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 no. But it was a reduction of pain, but I still had a long way to go. If
It's a
that makes
good
sense.
glimmer of hope. It's a good signal that, wow, I have the power within my own.
Correct.
I have the power within my own potential discipline. Hey, if I set aside the app or the laptop and the
Yes.
foam roller and whatever on the ground and I commit to it and then I follow the skills, I have the ability to make myself feel better in the session, which is the first time I've
Yes.
ever felt pain reduction for years. So maybe if I keep stacking those along, then I might have the power within myself to actually get myself out of 20 years of chronic pain.
Exactly. Exactly. And the accountability, record yourself and post it to the community in Facebook, because that right there, I think just the act of recording yourself makes you do it correctly, more correctly,
Yeah.
right? And then you're posting it, which takes an act of humility, because now you're opening yourself to feedback, which means you might not be doing it correctly. Are you willing to make adjustments and try better or try harder? And that's hard because I don't know about anybody else, maybe it's just me, but I can be so stubborn, right? And I was going into this whole program like, breathing, I was stubborn. I was closed-minded. I thought I knew enough. I just wanted that pain gone. And then once I finally kind of let go of that, open myself to learning something new, being teachable, being coachable, then I really started to see the progress. Not caring what I look like at the gym when I was able to start going to the gym and doing the work there. I still do my leg lifts and I still am not very good at them. My straight leg, seated straight leg lifts. But that's a good indicator. Like when I'm really starting to struggle with them, it's like, oh, okay, I need to do some more work on my core. Like there's different, not red flags, but indicators that are like self-checks for me with some of the exercises and movements through Whealth that I currently still do or try to do, just to make sure like, okay, don't get too far ahead of yourself, Sarah. Like, yes, you're getting super strong in these areas, but we know how fast that setback can happen if I'm not, maintaining mobility and what I consider real core strength.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, somebody's can have like a solid 6-pack. You can even see it. They might be shredded, but it doesn't mean they're core strong.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think there's Someone the other day asked our Instagram, like, how does getting stronger help a disc herniation reabsorb? And the way that I responded to that, just with any injury, I think the narrative of get stronger, push more weight, like in general, I like that. Hey, we're probably as a society under muscled. So let's get
Absolutely.
stronger
Right.
for sure. But there are plenty of objectively strong people in specific positions that have a boatload of pain. So it's not always just about getting stronger in,
No.
squat, deadlift, push up, pull up, some of those great lifts. But how are the other ancillary lifts moving? How are the other movement patterns that you're probably not even exposing yourself to?
Exactly.
How do those things move? And then it's funny because you'll see people who are really good athletes, they are really strong, and then you'll put them in some of the exercises that we have in the Limitless or Hypermobility program, and they're getting absolutely cooked. It was funny.
Yep.
I had this CrossFitter who coaches, I think, for brute strength, and the dude is massive, clean and jerks over 300 pounds. He came in with a disc herniation as well, sciatica, was inspired because he saw another semifinalist CrossFitter join the program. His name's Tommy. And I called him probably like 7 days in. I was like, how are you doing? He's like, dude, I was sweating from
Yep.
the first few workouts. Those hip switches were so difficult. And in the back of my mind, I was just laughing because I was like, this guy's extremely fit, strong, but he is quivering on some of the module 1 exercises because you just haven't exposed yourself to that. So you want to be careful about, like, how are you getting strong as well? I'm a big advocate for strength, but also there's a lot of things we're probably not doing. And if we're having consistent pain, we might want to like take a step back and analyze what's our training program look like? What's our lifestyle look like? Are there some missing things that we're not doing? Probably.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Couldn't agree more, honestly.
Yeah. Why do you think you hadn't learned any of the, I won't say any of those skills, probably a lot of the skills in the 20 years of your profession?
I think that's a really good question. I think over those 20 years, I was exposed to those types of exercises. I would even say a lot of them can be very PT, centered, and they're boring. I mean, not to put it down, but they're boring. They're not shiny.
You don't have to sugarcoat the Limitless program. It is not a sexy thing.
No, exactly. They're not a sexy thing. And, in the first 10 years, I mean, I graduated college in 2005. And the following 10 years, it was really that shift into the HIIT training, high intensity cardio, plus the weight training. There's none of those boring PT exercises in those. Let's be real. Like, it's about results, burn calories, sweat. Results, burn calories, sweat. So a lot of that got neglected, and I would maybe sprinkle some in, like the hip thrusts on the ground. Okay, it's kind of easy. I'll throw a band on. Maybe I'll do single leg. It's okay. Way more fun to do it with a barbell. Way more fun to use a machine, right? So you naturally just gravitate to the heavier modes or exercises without learning to feel the body and go slow, like painfully slow, and make sure everything is firing correctly. I think there's that disconnect. And I know for my own clients today, and I tell clients, like, if you're looking for entertainment and to have a different workout every week, like, that's not me. I'm not your trainer. Like, there's plenty of those out there. Go find a different one. Or even like you're going to, get a snatched waist in 6 to 8 weeks. That's not me. Go find a different trainer that guarantees that. But now all my programs always incorporate, like, how do you actually engage your core correctly? How to actually make sure your glutes are firing. The boring stuff is all in there. It might not be the entire workout, but it's sprinkled in. Whether or not my clients do it, I don't know. But in my own conscience, I cannot prescribe just only get stronger workouts or lifts without focusing on really building the strength from the inside out. Because I think that's really what is key, right? Not just the limbs, the extremities, but truly what actual core strength is.
Yeah. And I mean, I can appreciate why people, myself included, you do gravitate sometimes towards a HIIT kind kind of style workout or something that feels tough, because a lot of people are not necessarily spending too much time a week into fitness. So when they do that, they want to start and they want to leave with the endorphin rush. Like, I really push myself. And I think that's a very valuable perspective. It's necessary. People need to learn how to push themselves hard. But also there's another side of health and fitness that's not like muscular fatigue, burning, like coughing up blood because
Right.
I'm so tired. It's a different humbling type of hard. And that humbling type of hard starts with learning how to control your body, kind of that body awareness. Most people, frankly, just don't have it because
Yeah.
they are focused on the other side. And I think the challenge is it's, I guess it's not really a challenge. It is a challenge that once you get injured, you kind of are forced to learn those things, or it's very difficult to resolve your pain and injury.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned 6 months. I think that's when had a pretty remarkable transformation. What did you notice within 6 months of doing the program, or how do you mark that transformation that you had within that time?
I think two things. One, I've been a strength coach since 2005, but I went ahead, I love your guys' content, right? And I trust your content. So that's the difference, is like, you know what? I'm just going to set aside anything I know. I don't want to put my own program together. I'm going to do the Wealth Strength program too, you know? The only thing I didn't like were those Zerker squats. I still don't love those. Anyways,
They're
that's a
tough.
side note. Oh, they're tough. They're uncomfortable. But I think for me, at about 6 months, I felt good enough to start the strength portion. And I was weak, right? So super weak. But my first thing that was super encouraging was I began deadlifting with a barbell. I have never been able to consistently deadlift without back issues, ever. So in 20 years. And I would do the deadlift and I was like, wow, I don't have any pain. And the next day, I don't have any pain. And then the next week I would do them again. Wow, I don't have any pain. I'm going to go up a little bit in weight. So that to me was like, I was building trust in my body. I was like, wow, I can do this. I can do this without being in pain, and it's not setting me back. That was new. So that was a big new thing for me. And then two, moving forward, it's not like I've never had a flare up since, right? But when I do, I know it's a sign. It's my body talking to me. So that was the second thing that's been huge from your program, is it's giving me the tools to listen to my body and to know what to do. So when I do experience tightness or stiffness, or if I'm doing a lift and I feel something, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm okay to be done. I'm going to put my weights away. I'm going to go do my stretches. I know exactly what to do. So it's not that, pain is like a setback, but it's not forever. It's just temporary. So I think those two things have been huge for me. And then so from that point, even with maybe many setbacks here and there, I feel like I've been able to truly build strength for the last several years that I've really never been able to build before. So I would say I'm even stronger. I'm definitely stronger now in my 40s than I was in college as an athlete. So for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. And I mean, yeah, it's a testament to the slow, steady buildup, right? You really can do some incredible things with your body or anything in life if you figure out how you can be consistently improving a little by little. And it's very difficult to improve little by little when you are in chronic pain cycle, because people get short-sighted as well with pain. There is one aspect where, we'll talk to people on the phone who are considering the program and they're like, well, I've been in pain for 10 years or a year, 5 years, and I've lost like my physique or my strength. So I don't want to devote the month that it's going to take to ramp back up again, because that's going to slow me down. And I'm like, you're missing, frankly, the entire point. Like 1 month compared to a year or 10 years or in perpetuity until you resolve the pain is so short, but people do get short-sighted. And I get it. When I was in pain and I was in college, immediate goals. I want to look good. I want to preserve what I have. So I had a little bit of short-sightedness as well. Like sometimes I would go do workouts that probably weren't good for my rehab at the time. And then finally I started to make some progress, pull back, like, hey, the reason why I'm getting better is because of this radically different approach I'm learning from Andrew. It's going to work. And now, I mean, I won't say I'm pain free, but
Right.
99%, seriously, 99% pain free days since I had that year of sciatica. And I'm sciatica pain free. I haven't had sciatica now for 7 years. I push the
That's
training.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's awesome.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for that. But I
Yeah.
think probably like what I see with you being stronger than you were before, and me as well, it's like I've been able to train almost uninhibited now for 7, 8 years since my injury because of what I've learned. And that's where you really start to separate yourself from yourself or your peers, because
Yes.
other people
Yes.
just are looking too short-sighted in my mind.
Right. I totally agree. And that is the hardest piece, I think, for people. And that's where I had to get, is finally letting go of my workouts. Like, okay, I'm done weight training. My workouts will only be Whealth. They're boring. I'm not getting that crazy endorphin rush, but it did shock me how much work they did take when I was focusing on form. And I mean, I would get a sweat on. I wasn't like dripping, but I let go of anything else, because if we can remember how adaptable our body is, right? And especially if we're not starting at zero, if we've been athletes or you've been active for, over 10 years, like that muscle memory is going to come back. And like what you're saying, like I am stronger now than I ever was back then, ever. I've never been able to do pull-ups ever in my life until after Whealth and through the strength program. I was like, you know what, dang it, I want to do a pull-up. And it took me 6 months to do one strict pull-up. And now I'm up to 4 or 5 with kick,
Wow.
But I do them every single week. But that's the other, people get so short-sighted and they want to be able to do a pull-up. It's like, okay, well, you have to do them every single week. Every week. You can't skip. Like once a week isn't ever going to help you get to pull-ups, right? But it's the same thing with our back health. Like you have to be willing to do it weekly, if not every day, if you're in that really severe place of pain, to see improvement long term. But it's not a quick fix. But it's so worth it.
So cool. I think that's awesome to hear that you are now, you're 45?
Hold on now. I think I'm 43 and I'll be 44 in September. After 40, you just stop counting.
There we go. Not too important, but I think it's interesting that you're saying I thought you said 45 earlier in the conversation.
mid 40s.
Mid 40s,
close.
Mid 40s. I think it's incredible that you are now doing pull-ups that you couldn't do prior. And I think what's really interesting that I see with our members is the fact that they have these really incredible achievements post-injury, which is if you haven't been through it or you don't understand what it's teaching you, that could be a little bit perplexing. You're like, wait, I had struggled with some sort of injury or pain for 5 years or 10 years or a year.
Yes.
How could I get better after that?
Yes.
What do you think it is learning, going through that challenge that has given you that ability to get stronger now?
It reinforced that our bodies are so capable of anything, but it's consistency and time that allows us to hit those achievements. So the Whealth program forced me, but I made that choice mentally to finally let go of whatever it is I was trying to achieve with workouts and like trust the process. That was a big piece, right? Trust the process, little by little, every single day, stacking the days, building on the exercises that led me to start achieving way more when it came to the weight room. And I'm like being able to deadlift more than I've ever deadlift, back squat, pull-ups, like the main big lifts, bench press, but not just that, like being able to go on trips and go on hikes and paddleboard and do these things without like, oh gosh, I hope my back feels good. Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because my back's been feeling pretty tight. Just the insecurity that it would bring. So I think just through Whealth, it reinforced that time, consistency are key, trusting the process, Really, our bodies are extremely capable of anything, but not overnight, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right. Yeah. When you post that Instagram for us, that was, I mean, I love the gym. I've always liked lifting
Yeah.
weights. So it's cool to see you say, oh, I've been deadlifting now and it
Yes.
feels good, or squatting, but also just like the smile of you on the paddleboard or hiking or
Yes.
going out and exploring and doing things uninhibited. I mean, that's that true
That's the why.
freedom
My
from
why.
pain.
Doing a pickup ultimate frisbee game. And that's something I love to do in college. Been able to play recently, with high schoolers, and being able to keep up and then not regret it the next day because my back is killing me, or I'm so
Yeah.
tight I can. So that's a big why, right? It's worth it.
And how old are your kids?
I have one who's a senior in high school, 18, and then one who is going to be an eighth grader at 13. So I have two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, for a while, they, going back to what you said, the kids are relentless, so like, it's funny, I'm sure, but also it's like, wow, that sucks that your kids
The
are
truth
making.
hurts, right? You're like, oh, okay.
How, like, do they recognize the importance of how much better you are? Do you think they're able to comprehend that true challenge that you went through at this point, or is it still too early for them to really like understand that?
No, I think they do. I mean, whether they like to hear it or not, I mean, they know taking care of ourselves is very important, but they have to, figure that out for themselves. But um, I don't think I've heard the jokes as much the last several years. So that's good. That's good news. It must not be
And
as frequent.
that's a good sign. Yeah, I mean, they got incredible mom role model now because of what you've gone through, which I think
Hopefully,
is.
we'll see.
What about how is your husband doing, like, post-op? When were those surgeries? I'm curious how that is, like, seeing you get better. Is he getting better, hopefully, or?
Yes. So actually, he just shifted to. Uh, our relationships are
Yeah,
a give
sure.
take, and there's definitely like you're in a marriage, but we're still independent people.
Yes,
Meaning
you gotta be.
he's in charge of his own recovery. I'm in charge of my own
Yeah.
recovery, right? And so there's definitely things I'm like he's more bodybuilder focused,
Uh-huh.
right? So he's physically just looks amazing. But even just recently, and he's in the 40s too, and he's like, okay, I can feel it. My hips are not as strong as they should be, my core, right? And I go, oh, okay, maybe we should do this. But, he has to want it, right? I can't want it for him. So, but
Right.
as we both get older, we both recognize that essential need to take care of our bodies from the inside out. Like not just for
Mhm.
looks, not just for the physique, but like yeah, no, like our hips, our core, our shoulder girdle, all of those things need to be working as best as possible right now. So,
Right.
yeah, so it's been good. I mean, he definitely has the compromised discs. He gets flare-ups, but he knows his body pretty well now, and he'll know like, okay, this shouldn't take too long. He'll lay off. He kind of knows what to do and what not to do.
I went through a stage of this as well, like right after Andrew's Move You program at the beginning, and just learning that from Andrew, it dramatically helped me. And so it was almost like a year after, I was so convinced. I was like, you need to do this program, do it, do it, do it. And you really, because you've had such an intense like healing, you want everyone around you to
Absolutely.
feel what you feel. And now it's been 7 or 8 years since that. And what I've realized is exactly what you're talking about. The louder you tell someone to do something, the more you're probably going to push them away. And it's been a fine line. My friends and family and peers, I will push stuff here and there, but it's kind of funny to see the attraction and genuine interest in what I'm doing. And I've had probably 20 people in my individual circle do the wealth program now.
Wow.
It's not even a me reaching out telling them, hey, you need to do this because you have back pain. I will share my story, but I think there's kind of this energy and authenticity of, Cameron looks pretty healthy.
Yes.
I've heard he's overcome this injury. The way that he moves, his athletic achievements, I don't want to put myself on a pedestal. It sounds like that. But like from when I couldn't get out of bed to now what I'm able to do, people see that. And now it's like some of my buddies in college who were making fun of me when I was doing the program,
Sure.
stretching in the fraternity, are like, hey, my back hurts, my knee hurts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they're like, what should I do? I'm like, do you really want to know what I'm like?
Right.
What answer do you want me to tell you? I can send you a video and then
Right.
you're probably not going to do it, or I can get you in the program and it's going to take a few months. I don't really know where the in between is. Like sometimes you have to spoon feed people. Ultimately, you have to come around to it, which is
you do. You have to really want it. You have to really want that change, because it's not a quick fix. And a lot of people want a quick fix. Oh yeah, I should do some of this, or what do I need to do to get in shape? That's a very broad question. We need to look at your food, we need to look at your movement, your stress. I mean, it's not an easy answer, and people want easy, but yeah.
Right. Well, so if someone's like still listening to this podcast right now, 45 minutes in, I would imagine they probably are sitting here potentially in pain, wondering if they should make that change. And, you know, what we are highlighting right now, Sarah, is making that change and being patient is hard. But what do you wish someone like who's still kind of battling that? Should I change? Should I not? What do you wish that they would know about their health or their pain in the future if they actually gave themselves a few months of doing this program or something like that?
Well, you're worth the investment. It can make your future so much more enjoyable, I guess. You know, and I'm so glad I did it, because I feel like I'm getting more out of my life now, because I'm not living in that constant fear or insecurity of my back giving out or having a flare up or not being able to play frisbee or badminton or basketball with my kids or whatever it is, because I took the time and like committed to it for myself. Not even necessarily for anybody else, but for me, and like what I could then be able to participate in.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, give yourself 6 months to a year, or just wrap your mind around that and say, okay, 1 year, like commit every day to this process. You know, just trust the process. Don't look for, you know, huge improvements in a day or 2 weeks, but like just one day at a time, you know, stack the days. As I tell my clients, like one day at a time, that's all we can do. One choice at a time, one day at a time. Make that decision to take care of your body, really start from the inside out with Whealth, and just build that strength. Like, you won't regret it if you do it. If you do the work, you don't stop after a couple months, but you continue to do the work. It's gonna just accept that it'll be boring, do the work, and you're just gonna reap the benefits. It's only gonna, you know, help you really live fully for the years to come. You know, I hope that helps.
Oh my gosh, that's yeah, it's always funny, right? Like you and I were in the same profession essentially, and the answer itself is very simple, but the execution, the drop-off rate for anyone following a plan, it's so tough. And
that's, I mean, the hardest part. It's the hardest part. It's the discipline.
It is. And I mean, I think potentially, you know, so you were a swimmer in college, or you swam? Okay.
I swam like since I was probably 5 or 6.
Oh my gosh. What
and
a
then
great pace.
Ended up rowing my first year. So learned that, and then I lived with all the athletes, and then I was getting stress fractures just because it's so asymmetrical. And then, you know, some of the athletes were swimmers. They're like, you should try out for the swim team. I'm like, oh, I haven't swam in a year, but I did, and ended up doing really well, you know, over the course of college. And so I don't know. Once you're an athlete, you're kind of always an athlete, you know, mentally.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great perspective. I mean, I'm so grateful that I really enjoyed athletics growing up, and that I pushed myself. I learned how to push myself. It's a great perspective that I always carry with myself. I know what pushing myself hard feels like, and I look forward to that. And also what I sometimes see with our athletes who they can't separate themselves and kind of drop the ego. They're just so used to pushing
Yes.
themselves hard that when they get through an injury, they just want to push through it
Yes.
like they're used to. And I actually recall that's what you wrote on your Instagram video that you posted about wealth. You said that I think your mindset was kind of similar to that. You wanted to just keep trying to push through it
Yes.
in that way, rather than like, I guess, kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a give
Learning
and take.
to listen to your body, I think, and like you said, letting go of that ego, that's hard. That's hard to break. I mean, even in my 40s, I'm getting better at it, but it's still a struggle when you're competitive with yourself, you're performance driven, you're results driven, right? And so, doing hip switches or doing shoulder shrugs, like this isn't hard. But
Right.
then when you slow it down, you're like, this isn't hard, it sucks. This is just agonizing. What good is this to it, And so it shifts the mindset instead of how much weight I'm lifting. Now it's, okay, how well am I doing this? That's my performance mindset. And then also now currently listening to my body, like I just posted on Instagram just about, this is why it's so important to do similar weightlifting program over multiple weeks, right? So that you can actually progressively load and get better at the movement pattern. But when I first started with this new block, which was a hex deadlift, I didn't feel all that strong doing them. And I stayed at 135 for all 5 sets, but I also, my back didn't, it was fine, but it was like, it's new. I listened to my body. And then sure enough, the second week, I felt so good. I felt so strong. I was like, oh, I can actually lift a little bit more. Following week, I was able to lift even heavier, but that's where I think through your program, it's really helped me be in tune with my back, with my hips, with my shoulders. Like, is everything engaging? I always do the scap, what do you call this? The scap rolls, scap engagement before my lifts. I mean, sometimes I think like people must be wondering what I'm doing over here, but I don't care anymore. Yeah, exactly. It's like I want everything to work. And if anything's off, that's my signal. Okay, you know what? Something's better than nothing. I'm going to stop, put everything away. I'm going to go sit down on the mat and do all of my mobility. Not that doesn't happen all the time, but I'm thankful to have those tools there. Because if I do, it's usually a few days and I'm back doing it, right? There's really no huge setbacks like there used to be. But that performance is there, but now it's shifted to how well can I do things? And as you know, as an athlete, like, I don't know, we've already put a lot of reps on our body, a ton of reps. Like, my husband and I have talked, both being former college athletes, like we see these 30-somethings that get into CrossFit and just kill it, right? And and we both look at them and think, well, yeah, you haven't had any reps on your body. Like, you're starting fresh. Like, good for you. That's awesome. But for people like us, like, that's asking for an injury at that point, just because our joints have taken on thousands of reps. So now it's about, progressive overload, safely listen to your body. Maybe we need an extra rest day. Like, I don't know. It's more ebb and flow in midlife.
Right. And so I'll pop this up on the podcast, but you showed a really cool before and after on the left side. I saw some really cool body comp changes. Take me through, I mean, how did you achieve, or how have you achieved those body comp changes? And I think what I want to point out too is people sometimes separate like potentially rehab or mobility with and feeling good with body composition. And it's cool to see when our members not only eliminate their pain or really reduce it, but then you see those body comp changes too. It's almost like they can kind of go together.
They really can. I know for me, when I am stressed, I mean, pain is stress. Working out is stress, obviously. Like, all these things are stressors in our life, but pain can just be that chronic stress, which changes our body comp, right? That can change our cortisol or keep it elevated. We don't handle it well. For me, when I'm in that place, I just almost feel like not giving up, but I lose purpose, right? I lose motivation. I stop caring what I eat, or I skip, or I just want to eat what tastes good and gives me that dopamine hit, or something munchy and salty. So it does all work together, because as my pain improved and it decreased, well, all of a sudden my mindset started to change, and I started having hope again. And then, oh, I started lifting, and now I'm getting stronger. Oh my gosh, I'm improving my deadlift, and I'm lifting without pain. Like, I can do this. Like, oh, maybe, okay, I'm going to dial in my protein now. So it's not like it all happens at once, but it builds on itself to giving you more capacity. Because I feel like that pain just takes away your capacity for most things in life. Your tolerance, or it's probably just me, my tolerance goes down. I'm more impatient. I can have just angry outbursts. Like, it just affects my mood, everything, right? My hope, my motivation, everything. And so once that starts to improve, it's literally like things can just start getting stacked on themselves. And so for me, as my strength built up, then I was able to start focusing on my nutrition and making sure I'm hitting more animal protein, and like dialing in carbohydrates, whatever that looks like, and my fats. And then, okay, I have a little bit more capacity. I'm going to actually measure my food now. Like, so it's not like it all happened at once, right? But it kind of built. It's not all or nothing, right?
Right.
But it was just this gradual improvement, and it's not like it's perfect, right? But it feels good to feel good, right? It really feels good to feel good. And when you're not in pain constantly, and you've been there enough to not take one day for granted, right? I know, like, I wake up and I'm like, I have air in my lungs. I am pain free. What am I going to do today? Like, I have the whole day ahead. How am I going to eat? How am I going to fuel my body? How am I going to work out? Like, I never want to take that for granted, because being stuck on the floor, being stuck and I can't move on a massage table, or I'm crawling to the bathroom, it's awful. It's like, I don't want to do that again. It's not a guarantee that I won't ever be there again, but like, I don't want to live in that state, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So yes, like, sometimes I'm way more dialed in, body composition shows through. Yeah, I can push myself more.
When you struggled with back pain for 20 years, did you ever have the thought that like you could be here, or because it went on so long, did you just think like, I might never get out of this
Oh
situation?
yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was what I was going to live with the rest of my life. It
Yeah.
sucked. It was
Yeah.
awful. Which I know people can relate to that. Like, it feels like forever. And it just
Mhm.
feels like this is the life I've been given. This is the body I've been given. And it just keeps failing me, and it's broken, and nothing I do will ever fix it.
Yeah. A challenge that I've noticed that I'm sure we have and a lot of other people do is like, people listening right now. Okay, now it's an hour and they're
Yeah. If they're still here, whoever's still here.
hey, people are here. I mean, thousands of people are going to hear this, and you've hit on some really incredible mindset things that even if someone listening does not take the jump into our program, knowing that like, hey, keep persevering, push through, don't give up, think about, how you can improve these things yourself. But people, unfortunately, we really respond once we have a lot of pain, and Whealth it's not like, hey, I injured my back, let's go find Whealth on Instagram and go there before like I go and get injection or surgery or MRI
Right.
or doctors. Right. So as a result, like you, most people come to us after they've tried 5 or 10 things. So I totally understand. They're like, okay, I see Sarah got better. I see thousands of other people got better, but everyone else before me told me that like they could help or I might get better. So I understand that people like at some point it feels like you almost want to give up. And
Yes.
I know it's a perspective where you're hopeful that Whealth can work or something else can work, but you almost don't want to put your hope in one more thing because you
Yes.
don't want to let yourself down again.
Correct. But I think that is the difference with Whealth is a lot of the conventional methods of help do promise relief, but there really is no timeline with that relief. But we hear the word relief and we're desperate for it, right? We want some kind of relief just to ease the pain a little bit, right? But we know it's just Band-Aids, right? And I would say that, and I've told people this, Whealth is not a Band-Aid. It is not a Band-Aid. It takes work. It takes showing up every day. Again, it's boring. There's going to be many days you don't want to do it. Just do the work. Like set aside your training and all these other, like stop signing up for whatever events, if it's marathons or, competitions, stop and just take this time to take care of yourself and give it 6 months to a year before you look at any other options, but it's a mindset shift. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not. It's not.
But it's worth it. It's worth every day of it.
It's not easy, but also I will tell you what is way more not easy is 20 years of pain in chiro and anti-inflammatories. Does your life now consist of remotely any of those like modalities that you're doing?
Oh, good question. So I love our chiropractor.
Sweet.
But I go in a few times a year now, just if I know, something's off. Anytime I have an issue, my first thing is I open up my printout of all the workouts and I look through things that I don't normally include because I include a lot for my own stuff, my own warm-ups and everything. And then I'll add those in for a few days, do some release with the lacrosse ball and whatnot before I go to that. So I try to do manual self, not adjustment, but correction before I go do that. It's always a sign. If something's off, it's like, okay, slow down. Right. Slow down, Sarah. Yeah. Take the day off, get on the floor and do your work. Just do it. I literally have to tell myself that. And then sometimes I go and it's like, oh my gosh, that is what I needed. Like something was off. I have another guy I go to occasionally. I guess he's kind of like a massage therapist. I don't know. He's like old and it hurts so bad, but he does quick things and it's just what you need. And then it's like, oh, I'm all good. So I don't tend to do much else though, but
I don't want to say you need to earn the right to go see anyone, but for lack of better phrase, you're really earning the right to go work with people who are providing more passive modalities because you've clearly switched your mindset and that's not your reliance. It's a tool. But I think a lot of people get the two confused and they're like, I'm using the doctor, the chiropractor, masseuse as a tool. Like I'm doing the work. It's like, let's be honest, you're not.
Yes. And I think that is one of the big takeaways I took from Whealth as well is like a lot of it is very PT centered, right? But it's taking away the physical therapist and it's putting the power or control in your hands, meaning the PT tells you all these things to do, but nobody actually does them, right? And like we can't rely on going to the PT to move us through these exercises. We have to do it. And I think that your program does that is it really has equipped me to stop and like assess, okay, what's going on? My low back hurts or my hip hurts. Why? Okay, let's start with these exercises. Let's work inward. Let's go back to the basics, doing the rolling bridges, the regular bridges, hip switches. You know what I mean? Like, it's instead of like, oh, I got to make an appointment. Oh, I got to get in. And now I'm just going to wait in pain until I can get in. No, it's like, no, I have many tools I can do right here on my floor. So I can be back to doing the things that I want to do, And honestly, at my age now, I laugh at myself because I feel like we're leaving for vacation here in a week and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be in my own bed. My back's probably going to hate me, like, oh, geez, like how, soft I'm getting. But I have my exercises that I know I can do. So
I think one thing that's just an interesting idea that I play around with is like, I cannot wait to get up like from sitting after an hour or 4 hours. Not because I'm like, oh, this is detrimental, but I believe once you start to get really in tune with your body and expect to take care of yourself almost daily, you get this really good sense of good feeling baseline. And so then not doing what you do to take care of yourself, it just feels a little bit off. So I think we become it's kind of like this blessing and a curse. The more in tune you get with your body feeling good, the more aware you are of like, oh, my hips are tight or my low back's tight. So I think that I think about those tightnesses more potentially than I did when I didn't have that awareness. But objectively speaking, if I could measure how I feel now versus then, like I used to feel 1,000 times worse. Like I feel incredible now. I'm just aware of my body. It's almost like, you know, I'm not completely sober. I'll drink alcohol here and there, but like I've significantly cut it out since college partying. And so it's kind of that same thing. Once you go a long time without alcohol and then you have a little bit more, you're like, whew, that wrecked me. And I didn't have nearly as much as I had before. And when I used to drink more, your baseline's lower, so you can't really be telling like how good you feel now.
Well, we normalize a lot of our symptoms, right? We don't realize that they're symptoms or it's a way of our body telling us that it doesn't like something or something's off. We just think like, you know, back in college, we didn't sleep as much, right? We're up late or we're partying, and the next day it's like, yeah, I'm tired, but that's about it. We would normalize that, no, we're probably not pooping well and our back is tight and our hips are tight and our brain is foggy, but no, it's normal. It's fine. I feel fine. Right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah. It's just like our gut health too. The more you correct it or heal it, then all of a sudden it's like, why am all of a sudden I'm allergic to all of these things or I have food intolerances? Like, no, you've actually always had them, but your body kind of got used to feeling awful and you normalized it as fine. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sarah, great conversation. I'm going to go run and do another podcast right now with Andrew. I'm going to interview him, which should be kind of fun to interview him and learn a little bit about his story. But I know we've talked a lot about the mindset and all these different things about who should join Limitless. But from your perspective, because I say this all the time, I think people with pain who want to get better should join the Limitless program or hypermobility program. But like, who would you say is right for the program versus wrong for the program or not the right fit at this time?
I'd say anyone who has some kind of chronic tightness or back pain, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to start, no matter what age you're at. Professional level, regular level, somebody who dabbles in fitness, somebody who loves to go on adventures, hike, explore. If you are getting issues, dive into this now. Like versus wait before it gets too late. So, and if somebody is a non-compliant person who has a hard time sticking with anything, this program is not for you.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. We would rather wait for people to become compliant and use the program as it's meant to do. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Sarah, it was a blessing to be able to share this time with you. Thank you for throwing that video up. It was really cool to just learn a little bit more about your story, because we have so many people in the community, and sometimes just having you put those thoughts out, I'm like, wow, I didn't see the pain or injury from that perspective, right? I know how it was for me and I can assume how it is for our members, but everyone's got slightly different thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to think about the kids almost like poking fun at you. I'm like, okay, that's another data point, you know, just pain is so complex and loud and it affects us all in different ways. So thank you for sharing how you overcame it, and no doubt that it's going to be able to help other people do the same.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
Awesome. Hey, enjoy your vacation as well in a week.
Thanks. Sounds good, Cam.
All right.
Take care.